Earning a favorable score on the TEF exam is no small feat, and it speaks volumes about your language proficiency and commitment to your goals. Whether it was for your personal growth, career development, or immigration purposes, your success in this exam is a testament to your determination. Today at La Fore French class, we have our student Mr. Choshal. He prepared with us for 4 months with Aarti ma'am and gave TEF exam a few days ago. Regarding the session today, it will be an hour-long session where Joshel will be talking about his journey of learning phase, preparation phase, and all the other things he experienced at the exam center. Joshel, the floor is all yours, and you can tell us about your journey, please.
The thought of giving TEF exam comes from getting those extra points for Canada and for applying into various programs. So that was my thought as well. That's why I started learning French again. Actually, I had studied French in my college days for 2 years. So 11th and 12th grade, I had done French. But then after that, since we don't speak French and we don't listen French in our day-to-day life, the touch was lost. So Aarti ma'am really helped me to regain the touch, and it was a overall very good experience of uh, 2.5, 3 months, where me and Aarti ma'am were all speaking on daily basis, almost Monday to Friday for 1.5 hours. And some learning a new language, learning a language is not like learning maths or science, right? You cannot, take the concepts or formulas. There's nothing like formulas or concepts or logics as such behind it. It is more of the fluency, the knowing of certain words, knowing of certain tones, knowing of certain ways of speaking a language. And you obviously need to practice a lot for language. So keeping a general touch every day throughout the course of your phase, of your learning phase, and also of your revision phase is very important. So whatever doubts you have, you should, after the class, you should revisit those doubts. You should, do your own research first on internet, that okay, there are certain things. If it gets solved, well and good. If not, then you can always come back and approach Aarti ma'am. She's always helpful. So that way, keep on constantly thinking about French during the day for that entire time span. So that is important. Then I think out of the four subjects, so there are four tests, right? There is reading, there is listening, there is speaking, and then there is writing. So reading and listening and writing is something you can do by yourself, like practice by yourself. Speaking is something you need to speak with someone, right? So during that 3 months period where you are undergoing your class, try to speak as much as possible in French with Aarti ma'am. Try to come up with a point, like an idea, and speak on it for like 2-3 minutes. Okay, so Aarti ma'am will also help you how to improve the flow of your uh, conversation, how to improve the flow of your thoughts, to summarize the idea properly, right? So that is very important. Then uh, what I would say is, another thing is also listening, because in exam, honestly, the audio is very fast. Okay, and sometimes they play it twice and sometimes they only play it once. Okay, and they will tell you before the question starts that it will be played twice or once. Usually, when it's a big audio, it is played twice, and when it is a small audio, it is played only once. And I feel out of everything, the most difficult ones are the one time played, which are small audios, because there one portion of it is where you have to they will just speak for like 2-3 seconds. Okay, and you will have something, a sentence written on your screen, and you have to say yes or no if it is correct or not. And that is like a trick game, right? Because they sound very similar. So unless you are very clear how the words sound, then otherwise you will make a mistake, because the audio, what how it sounds, and the sentence what is written is very similar, and it may not be correct always. Okay, so that is what they're testing you, if you know the exact pronunciation of those particular words, right, with the accent, right, because they will be speaking in a French accent, right? So yeah, that is one part of listening, which also requires very regular practice. You need to keep on listening to French audios again and again. Then about writing is, see, in writing, what happens is there are two sections. The first section is a newspaper article. They will give you an idea, uh, two lines on the idea. Like for me, what it was a newspaper article about uh, a old woman in her 90s, and she's trying to sell a large, huge mansion regretfully. Like she doesn't want to sell it. And me as a reporter who's covering is going to the mansion, and I'm surprised by how big the mansion is, and then I have to write 80 words on it. Okay, so that also requires you to write in paragraphs. So your idea should flow accordingly in paragraphs. And the second session is more like essay writing, where for me the idea was, should uniforms be made compulsory in school?
Mm.
Okay, so on that you have to write 250 words.
Mm.
So a general trick which Aarti ma'am had suggested me, and which I also liked, is when we are writing this 250 words essay, right? We know certain phrases and idioms in English. So those phrases and idioms in English, we can translate it in French and use them, like something extra, like that. So that is a good idea, which also help you connect two thoughts if there are, right? So uh, writing also, honestly, it requires a lot of practice because of the accents. And what happens is, since this will be a computer based exam, you also need to be very quick with typing, because the keyboard will be a normal keyboard. Okay,
Mm.
and in the software, in their system, there will be a button where you can click and all the accent characters open. So suppose you are typing a word and you need A with an accent. So you cannot type A on the keyboard. You have to go to that particular keyboard on the screen, take your cursor over there from mouse, and click on that A with the accent you want, and then continue the rest. So that requires time, because you cannot type it quickly fast. So accordingly, you will have to learn typing fast also. And obviously, if you are typing fast, you will make mistakes. So you will have to keep that buffer to go back and read what you have already written, so that you can cancel out all the mistakes in your typing. Okay, so that is about writing. Writing is, it can be the second. So the newspaper article and the essay can be any topic. So you can just go on internet and search for some topics, and try practicing it and show it to Aarti ma'am every day. Like one day you'll do newspaper, one day you'll do an essay, one day you'll speak on something, like that. During the 3 months, there'll be a lot of practice for you. Okay, so that is about writing part. Listening part, listening part I covered about the audios being short and long, and also you cannot re-listen
Mm.
listening during listening exam. Okay, so you cannot also go front and back. You cannot switch questions. Whatever comes, it comes. You just have to put in the answer, select the correct answer. Okay, so you cannot skip a question, come back, like that. It's not possible. Okay, so that is about the listening part. Then the reading part. So I feel that reading part is very long, and we are not used to reading very fast and interpreting it faster. And another thing is, they don't care if you are new to French. Okay, the vocabulary over there is high level. They use all kinds of words. Okay, and sometimes it will happen we don't know those words. Okay, and it might be the crux of the entire comprehension In that case, reading allows you to switch questions. So skip it, go forward, do what you know, then come back. Note it down where you have where you don't know things. Okay, so note it down on a paper. They give you a paper and a pen. You have to carry a pen. They give you a paper. So you note down the questions and then you come back to that questions. And also reading has, I think, four kinds of comprehensions. One are very small, one are some medium size, one are a bit long, and one are like very long. Okay, so and those certain comprehensions which are very long, they have like 4 or 5 questions on it. So they will give you the comprehension again for all the 4 or 5 questions, but it is one comprehension for like 4 or 5 questions. The medium one is for like 3 questions, before that is two and some, and one question like that. So that is one part of uh, reading. And obviously it takes a lot of time to read the long ones and to understand the long ones, and they ask you only 4 questions on it, and they have like 3 4 long ones at least in that. So it takes a lot of time. So I personally feel keep the long ones for the end, because I did not complete my paper honestly, and no one else also did with me. Who were there? They were in the exam. I asked everybody. No one completed their reading paper because it is very time consuming. And then there is also a question. There are also some questions where you have to add ideas in a chronological manner
Mm.
into the passage. There will be blanks. Like there will be two sentences, and between that there will be one, two, three like this, and you have to fill in with the ideas given in the options, and that should be in a flow of the comprehension,
Mm.
right? So that is also something that you will, and that the idea which they give is not there in the comprehension. Okay, so
Mm.
you have to understand the comprehension, understand the options, and then make out what goes where, because what is there in the options is not mentioned in the
Mm.
comprehension. So they are trying to test you, can you make a flow of the entire
Mm.
comprehension
Mm.
that way. And that is also one difficult part, I feel, because in that also there is high vocabulary both in
Mm.
comprehension and in options. And if you do, and there are some minute differences between the options. So you have to really pay attention and practice on that. And this one part, does this adding the options into the comprehension, this one part I recommend practicing it a lot, because that is really difficult.
Mm.
So speaking speaking, so speaking is, so I gave my exam from Mumbai. Okay, and the proctor who was for me, she was like very fluent in French, and the problem was her voice was very low. Okay, so sometimes it also happened that she asked questions where I couldn't comprehend it in the first go, where I had to re-ask her the question for a few times, and she also used high-level vocabulary sometimes. So that also happens. And in speaking, what happens is, first they give you a chit, okay, and they give you a topic on it, like it is an advertisement, okay, and you have to ask at least 10 questions on it, and they will give you information, but they will give you very limited information. Like if you ask them where is the house, they will say it is in Mumbai. So then you have to ask them again where in Mumbai, like that. So you have to dig for more information. The aim of the proctor is to give you as less information as possible. Okay, so, and you obviously, so because of that, what happens is you cannot prepare 10 questions and go,
Mm.
because then she is not giving you information, right? So you cannot just move on to another thing because you don't have the information. That is also a problem. So suppose you want to know, suppose you have prepared that, okay, if a job comes, a job advertisement comes, and I have to apply for a job, any kind of job. First I will ask where it is, second I will ask how to get there, third I will ask what is nearby, like that. But when you ask her where it is, and she says it is only in Mumbai, then you cannot ask her that how I will get there, because you have to ask her where in Mumbai. Okay,
Hmm.
so you cannot prepare in advance. That is what they make sure of it. Okay, so they will give you as little information as possible, so that you cannot come prepared in advance with your questions and just go and speak that over there. Okay, but basic questions, you can prepare, and then you need to adapt, because
Hmm.
I don't know how other proctors will say, but one was, he was giving very less information, very limited information. So for that you have to keep on asking. Then the second part is, so for me, what was the first advertise? It was for a part-time job for a dog sitter,
Hmm.
dog sitter. So that topic was also a little like that. So, but yeah, they wait for you. It is not like they rush you. They will not tell you to come on, come on, come on. Like that, that won't happen. They will wait for you. You take your time, no problem. Like that. So that is the first part, and the second part is you have to convince your friend for something. So the proctor is your friend. It is a role play. Okay, and that there will also be a chit which will be given to you, which states that which gives some details of the idea. So for me, it was to convince my friend to rent, to give her car for rent on a app like Uber. Okay, so like rent a car sort of thing. So, and the aim of the proctor is to not be convinced. Okay, they will try as much as possible to say no and give all sorts of reasons and excuses to contradict your thoughts. Okay, and then you have to keep on convincing them, convincing them, convincing them, and then finally they will be convinced. Okay, and the chit will have certain details. Okay, so it will suppose, so for me it said the insurance is covered, any damages will be covered, the deposit will be taken, and all that stuff. So you can use those ideas and try to convince her, your friend. Okay, and so for the first one, the job one is a formal conversation. The second one is an informal conversation. So your salutation should work accordingly. Your pronoun should also work accordingly. So first, in the first one you will use "who," in the second one you will use "you." Like that. Okay. So that way, and they, in the second part, they do everything. They give all kinds of excuses to say no to you. So you have to also contradict on their excuses. Okay, so for me, she said that it is my car, and I'm worried that my car will get damaged. So if an accident happens, so I said that the insurance is covered. You will get the insurance back. And then she said that uh, that even though insurance is covered, but still my time and efforts are wasted, like that. And then I sort of got stuck, to which I spoke to Aarti ma'am later on, and then she gave me an idea that and accidents can happen in day-to-day life also, even when you use, right? So like that, it just, like I said, speaking takes a lot of practice. You need to keep on practicing so that you get new ideas, so that you are fluent with, a little bit fluent with speaking, right? Not per se speaking. You can take sort of liberty on the correct phrases if your ideas are good, right? If you can if you just stay mute, then nothing will happen. You have to keep saying something, right? So that way the idea should keep flowing. So that is about speaking. So yeah, and these are the four tests what I covered from my personal side. And how the environment is for exam. So with me there were other three candidates. Okay, and they gave us a room with laptops. Everybody had a laptop and a headphone. So everybody was sitting in the same room. And I noticed that the questions are different for everybody. Okay. So it is not the same question for everyone. Okay. So that is how, like, after the exam we discuss, right? So then they told me that, okay, what did you write for this question? I said this question was not there for me. So then we realized that, okay, our questions are different. Okay. And another thing, in listening, there are quite a few questions where they give you images, five images, okay, of objects, okay, and then they will play an audio, okay, and in that audio they will mention they will mention four objects out of the five, and in an order, okay, and you have to answer the questions in the order of the objects mentioned. Okay, so out of the five, only four will be mentioned, and you have to, and there will be four questions. So, first, what was mentioned, second, what was mentioned, third, what was mentioned, fourth was what was mentioned. So, you have to mention the name of the objects in the order of the this thing,
Oh
and
dear.
this is all multiple choice. Okay, the listening and reading is multiple choice, so you don't have to worry about the spellings and this thing. You just have to know what is spellings. You have to worry about and writing. That's it. So yeah, that is one part of listening. So yeah, that's it from my side for now. Any questions?
Thank you so much, Social. This was very insightful, actually, even for me. But yeah, we'll take questions now. Padam.
Sure.
Hi, Joshal, and
Hi.
good morning to all of you. I've recently joined the course actually, and thank you very much for giving your time and important information regarding the examination. I have one quick query or question regarding this preparation for the examination. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
hope you guys can hear me. Am I
Yeah, yeah.
audible?
Yes.
Okay, great. So, Joshal, my question is, we have many words in French which sounds same, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how do we tackle that kind of see, for example, if the questioner or if the person who is asking the question in terms of speaking, so there are a lot of chances that we may get confused with the questions they are being asked because they sound similar, right? So how do you practice for that, and how were you able to identify the differences between those kind of words?
So that is the entire point of one section in listening. They will give you they will give you an audio and a written question, which both sound similar, but they are not the same. That is the entire section in your listening exam. And that is why I said it is very important to practice listening almost on a regular basis. You listen to something and you also see the subtitles of it, right?
Hmm.
You can go on the internet and watch have some listening videos for French. You have to listen every day and then see the subtitles of it, so that you know that what you're listening is which word. And honestly, there's no other way. You just have to practice it by listening, because those there are very similar sounding ways, like similar sounding words, like we have in English. In English we have like same sounding words, but and we have to make distinction based on the context. In French there are subtle changes to the pronunciation, and also you can make a distinction based on context, because even though the words are similar sounding, but they don't mean the same. So the words before and behind, you have to make sense with that okay, does this word fit the context of the sentence, right? So that
Hmm.
is one way. So, but that you just have to practice. There is no other way. You have to keep on listening.
Okay, for sure. And one skeptical question. I'm sorry if I'm asking too many.
No problem.
But this question is, what is an, say for example, most of the people here, I'm not sure, but for me, uh, uh, I'm a working guy, so I have very limited time where I have to invest the time. So my query is, uh, what is the best way of keeping yourself on top of things and practicing? What is, like, for example, you're traveling or you're going somewhere and then even you can practice. I got one information like Duolingo. It is really a very good tool, but what is the ideal or the sufficient or the enough time you have for practicing in your everyday's practice,
So
like.
for me, I am a morning person. So I wake up a little early before the class, and I do my revisions. Okay, and
Mhm.
then I joined my class. So my class used to be at 6:30 in the morning with Aarti ma'am, and I used to wake up at around 5:30 or something, and I would practice, refresh my things, and then sit for the class. Okay, so even I am a working professional, and I am in a corporate job, and it sometimes goes beyond work hours. Like uh,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I struggle with timings, but there you have to find some time for this because see, ideally, most of my practice used to happen before the class, one hour or whatever I used to give it. That was my major practice time, and then the class itself, that where I used to learn, obviously. And then during the day, I used to barely get any time. Sometimes in night, I would sit and listen to things, okay, and also read on certain topics, certain articles on internet, and watch some videos also, like informational videos about the exam, like what is what kind of things comes, and sometimes also just skim through the books if I have the book around me. I would just skim through the book, see, practice certain, look at, revisit certain tenses and grammar, so that it just goes through your eyes once, like that. So, yeah, so I think at least 1.5 hour a day you should remove somewhere, wherever you're comfortable, either before class, after class, before going to sleep, before going to work. You take that 1.5 hour where you can focus on French. And speaking about Duolingo is very basic. It is not going to help you at all.
Mhm.
Okay, it
Okay,
is
okay.
it is very basic. What comes in the exam is 20-30 times difficult than what they are telling on Duolingo. Duolingo
Oh,
is
okay.
very
Because
basic.
I was planning to buy the subscription. Better I don't.
It is
Okay.
it is very basic, and the problem with Duolingo is you have to, you cannot just go to the high level. You have to finish the lower levels first, and it is going to take you a lot of time to finish the lower levels till you reach the higher level, and that time then you will also get bored, so you will lose that thing, the flow of your study. So
Okay, okay.
better is you watch videos on YouTube, or if not, then you take, I would recommend you take that Prep My Future subscription, which is very good.
Okay.
They
Can
have
can you can you can you tell me one more time? Sorry, Joshua.
Prep My Future. I think Viva and Aarti ma'am can shed some more light on this after me. What the Prep My Future is? It is a subscription-based software. Okay, where they have videos also to explain, and they have activities also which you can do, and you can keep on doing it. And the best part is they have the translation in English and in French. So first you read the French translation, and things you don't understand, go to the English translation, and
Okay.
then
Even the support in pronunciation stuff.
pronunciation means you can listen to things. Obviously, there's no
Okay.
person over there because it's a software.
Mhm, mhm. Okay. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
for
I can correlate, Joshua.
hmm,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, for speaking, you have Aarti, you can always
Sure.
speak to her,
Sure. Yeah.
right?
Thank
Uh,
you. Thank you. That answers my question. Yeah. Thank you very much.
no problem.
Okay, I have a few questions. So when you said they play the audio, are is it exactly like IELTS? Because I think most of us have given IELTS here, but in IELTS we are allowed to play as in when
No,
we have the time limit, but then we press the play button.
no, it is not like that. It is the test starts. You cannot do anything. You can only put in answers.
Mm-hmm.
It
So there's no
goes
play
on
button.
playing back to back, back to back, back to back. They
Okay.
they pause. They pause, but it is not in your hand to pause, and it is not in your hand to start the next question. The next question starts automatically
Mm-hmm.
after the time is gone.
So all the questions are on one page.
So the screen keeps changing.
Oh, screen also keeps changing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So one at a time, there's only one question
Hmm.
on the screen. Then the screen changes. There's a small timer on top which shows you how many. So after the audio is played, it will actually it doesn't show you after the audio play, it shows you the entire duration of that question. So in that time, the audio will also be played, and then you will also like played once, twice, depending whatever it is. And then you also have to respond within that time frame. If you don't select your answer within that time, the question will go and next question will start.
Okay. So how are we supposed to do the questions which are, of the same audio but multi-part questions?
Same audio but multi-part questions.
As
So
in, for example, the question that you mentioned with images,
hmm,
how are we supposed to do those questions?
so those questions there will be that those kind of questions will be on the same page where you have to select one, two, three.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
Okay.
for every new audio there will be a new question, new set of questions.
Hmm. Okay. Then for the speaking, you mentioned that there was a chit.
Hmm,
So do you have to pick out from multiple chits,
no,
or they hand you one chit?
only one. You don't have option.
Okay. Hmm. Okay. And how would you say is the importance, how much is the importance of pronunciations in the speaking practice? Do they,
uh I think it is important, like pronunciation is important, but if you have just pronunciation and you don't have ideas or your grammar is wrong, then it is not going to make any sense. So I think pronunciation comes after
hmm.
grammar and after your ideas, because unless you have ideas you cannot speak, unless you have grammar what you speak is not correct, and then
Okay,
comes the
so
pronunciation.
yeah, you have to be confident first, like while speaking and have good ideas, and then you go to the pronunciation. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So pronunciation is like a feather in a cap. So if you know
Hmm.
pronunciation properly, if you know the vocabulary, very good vocabulary, it gives you extra points. But the basic is obviously you need to have ideas and the grammar.
Okay. Do you think it is a good idea to learn a few things in Go? For example, for speaking or writing, you learn a few phrases and Go, or some vocabulary that you make a point to use in your
In
test.
speaking, I don't think it is possible.
Mm-hmm.
In speaking, it is all dependent on what the proctor says. So speaking is more of adaptive, impromptu. So speaking, I don't think it is possible to learn a certain phrase and go. For writing, yes, like I said, just take English phrases and translate it in French. That also works.
Hmm. Okay. So, for example, if there's a speaking activity and for saying no or saying yes, you learn certain phrases that you can say yes in this way.
Yeah, that is possible. Yes, that is possible. So for saying no and yes, if you know certain phrases you can speak, yeah, well then good.
Hmm.
But see, you are not the one saying no.
Yeah,
She's the one saying no,
right.
and you're the one saying trying to convince the proctor. So you won't ideally be saying yes or no or something like that. You just have to keep convincing the proctor.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. So you gave the whole exam. How long did it take you?
So 3 months of classes and 1 month
Hmm.
of my self practice, and then I gave the exam. But so it all depends on yourself. It is never too early and it is never too late also.
Yeah.
But I think you give it as soon as you're comfortable, and you re-give it again if you are not satisfied, because this like IELTS, you have if you all have given IELTS, you must have noticed that speaking sometimes becomes horrible, right? So it can happen in this also, and we are not as good in French as we are in English, right? So this you may have to give 2 3 times the exam. It
Hmm.
is quite possible to get the required points you want. So therefore, it is better to start early. So give your exam, then you analyze based on your experience that how much more time you need, and then you give the second exam if you want.
Right. Okay. And how long was the duration of the exam?
So It is like 3 hours for the three tests and 20 minutes for speaking. But then you have
Okay.
to wait for other people also. So the entire day is
There's
gone.
waiting time as well.
Yeah, entire day is gone anyway. So you have to take a holiday if it is. So mine was on Saturday, so I didn't have to take holiday. I don't know about other places.
Okay. So, what according to you was the most challenging for you?
Speaking, speaking,
Okay.
yes, because we are not used to speaking,
Hmm.
and you need someone to speak.
Right. And it wasn't much because of lack of practice, was it?
It is practice only. Like
Huh.
you have to practice speaking. There is no other option, right? Because we have to keep speaking with someone to have that fluency.
Hmm. Okay. And is there anything that was unexpected? You did not think that that would happen.
Unexpected as in what sense? Like topic wise or
Yeah, topic wise in the exam, some questions that you weren't aware of.
uh no. So the coverage was pretty good.
Hmm.
So I had we also did the 250 activities book of TEF.
Right.
So it had all those kind of questions also. Uh, there was nothing which was something that some sports format which I hadn't done before. There was nothing of that sort. Just that the topics for speaking and essay, it is completely up to them. So you don't know what they will come. So
Hmm.
that's it. So you have to be ready for anything to drop in. There's no
Okay.
fixed topics.
Okay. ठीक है. Yeah, these are the questions that I have for now. Thank
I
you,
have
Kaushal.
one question. Hi, Shushan.
Hi.
Uh, sorry, about the speaking part. Like, if I correlate with IELTS, as Viva said, so we
Hmm.
have 1 minute duration to speak on a particular topic. So, is it same over here, or they give us a time like how long we can speak on the topic?
So it is more like how much you should at least speak. So
Uh-huh.
the first session, you will need to ask at least 10 questions
Okay.
for the advertisement. Okay. It is mostly like applying for job or something of that sort. It is a
Mm.
formal one. And you need to ask at least 10 questions, which takes about 7 to 8 minutes. She will
All
also
right.
respond, and then you have to keep that conversation going on. The next part is you have to convince the proctor, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that is you need to speak for at least 10 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like in IELTS it do happen like the person who is taking exam, the examiner, if the 2 minute timer is still up and we are like stopping or we are not continuing the speaking part, they just hint us through hand or something like continue, you still have time or something. So
Yeah.
do they give us any hint
Yeah.
if
She
we
will
stop
keep
early?
saying, "Ui, ui." Say more, say more. What else?
Okay, okay. All
Because
right.
their part is to say no, keep on saying no, and in the end, say yes.
Okay.
So you have to make them say yes. Till then,
All
you have to
right.
keep going.
And the person is francophone. Obviously, we are giving exams over here, so yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yes.
And for the listening part, we don't have to worry about the writing thing. Like as you said, we don't have to fill in the blanks or something. It's just the
Multiple.
MCQs.
Yeah, I'm serious.
Okay, so in like our practice thing, we have this bray and false, so we have to give the reason why. So it is not like that over there. We just
No,
have to write
no.
gray or faux. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So it's just the reading and the writing where we have to be cautious about the word we are writing.
In reading also, you don't have to write. It is MCQ only.
All right. So I don't have to be like manje or manje. S is there or not, I don't have to worry about.
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right. Yeah, that's helpful. Thank you.
For writing, you need to worry about the spellings and accents.
All right. For me, it's the accent. I'm not getting the accent. So,
That comes only from practice.
yeah. All right. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Welcome, no problem.
Last thing, when you be expecting your result, is it computer based? So like in 3 days or
No. It takes some time, like at least
all right,
14 days. So I
14
should
days?
get soon.
Okay, yeah. For IELTS, like CBT is just three in 3 days we get the.
No, this takes some time, minimum
All
14 days, I think. Yeah.
right.
This weekend you will have, huh, Joseph?
Hmm.
और
Yeah,
वो
Shen,
तूने
you
वो
had a
कौन सा आंसर?
question. You're on mute.
Yeah, I have a question from the point of view of preparation for TEF and prep my future. Do you think that working more on prep my future would have helped you?
Yes, obviously, practice always helps. So
Yeah.
the more you practice, the better.
And do you think prep my future is comprehensive? And I mean, you could have spent more time since the subscription is for 1 year. Let's say, does it have sufficient content to practice for, let's say, 1 year?
Not for entire 1 year, obviously,
Yeah, yeah,
but enough preparation to get good marks in exam. Enough content to get good marks in the
yeah.
exam.
And let's say my personal experience, I don't speak or write French, but I watch a lot of French movies or let's say French TV shows. I watch them. And over the years, somehow I feel that sometimes I can understand many things uh,
That cannot speak.
just by, I mean, because I have been in the environment, I have been in areas where people speak French. So, I mean, that learning has automatically happened without my even trying to learn French. So, do you think this can happen with others also? Because you see what happens, watching a movie or watching a TV show is very different than, let's say, giving an. They make sure that people understand. In an exam,
Mhm.
it may
Right.
not be a similar
So,
environment.
hmm, hmm,
So,
right.
does let's say continuously maybe on a regular basis, like you said, practice is important. So let's say if you watch listen to, let's say, news, French news on a daily basis, would that be helpful?
See, it helps, but what I personally feel is when we are giving an exam, the practice should be more exam oriented, right? Because even if you are aware about French in your day-to-day life and you are going through things, but the questions and the manner of testing you is in a certain way, right? And it may not necessarily be easy for you to adapt to that particular fashion of testing, right? So
Okay.
so I think, yeah, it will help, but it will also take some time. But for that, and I don't think it is it would be enough to get good marks for exam, because you have to do that exam oriented sort of environment, right? You have to practice questions
Okay.
the way
Yeah.
they will come in exam, right? That way.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
Welcome.
What inputs, huh,
So
Joseph?
yeah,
Yes.
yes, Garima. Yes.
Thank you.
Anyone has other questions?
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. I just have one question. Like, how much time we should devote
Yes,
day on a
Garima.
daily basis to, yeah, prepare for the exam in 4 5 months and appear for it?
Sorry. Can you repeat again? There was some
Yeah,
disturbance in the
sure,
audio.
sure. I'm just asking that how much time we should invest on a daily basis in the preparation to appear for the exam in a span of 4 to 5 months or maybe 1 or 2 months later.
I would say one and a half hour of self study.
1 hour. That would be sufficient to do.
Yeah, it also depends on a person to person. See, you will also give some tests, right? Mock tests. So try to give them as soon as possible so you know where you stand, right? You have to be a little adaptive with respect to languages. You need to constantly test yourself to know where what position is yours, what level you are at currently. And always think like whatever sort of score you get or whatever sort of correct answers you get, always think that the exam will be difficult than what you're currently doing. So you need to have that little buffer, and then accordingly you plan your study. And what will happen is when you test yourself constantly, right, you will know which are your strong points and which are your weak points. So accordingly you can work on them, so you can make your weak points on an average level and make a strong point
Mm-hmm.
on above average level, so you can balance it. There's no point in making your weak point above average, because obviously your strong points are going to give you a better result, right? So your strong points, you make them above average and make your weak points on a acceptable average level.
Okay. So the only option is to give a computer-based pen and paper is not available in this.
Sorry, can you repeat again?
You just have one medium to give exam that is computer-based. Pen and paper is not there.
I don't think pen and paper is there anymore. For me in Mumbai, it was the only option.
Even
And
in
you have,
Ahmedabad, it's only computer based.
yeah,
But every center has different method.
yeah,
No, but ETEF means computer
yes,
based.
yes.
If you have registered for ETEF, then it is always computer based.
But I don't think there is an option for paper and
Yes,
pen.
yes.
Yeah,
Now I think there is at no center there is anything else other than ETEF.
yeah. And it is better to give computer based now, then you don't have to worry about spellings for reading, at least.
That's fine. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for
Sure,
the time.
sure, no problem.
As we conclude this enlightening session with our esteemed lecturer, Mr. Joshel, I want to express our heartfelt gratitude. Joshel has generously shared his experience, insights, and tips with our students preparing for the TEF Canada exam. His dedication to our success has been truly inspiring, and his passion for learning and the French language is evident in every word. We've not only gained knowledge, but also the motivation to excel. We thank you, Joshel, for your support and wish you continued success in your endeavors. Let us carry forward this wisdom you've imparted as we strive for excellence in the TEF Canada exam. Thank you.